Well, for more on President Obama and the African American community, Peta Lindsay, a presidential candidate from the Party for Socialism and Liberation, joins us now. Peta, welcome. So, what do you think? Do you think the president has done enough to help the African American community?
Absolutely not. I think the election of a black president meant a great deal to a lot of people. It showed how far the struggle against racism has come and offered new hope for the needs of the people, of poor and working people and African Americans would finally be a priority of our government. And, Obama himself campaigned under the banner of hope and change, speaking to people who held precisely this belief. But it was a lie. For Obama to really affect the kind of change that poor people and African Americans need, he would have to have a fundamentally different orientation and policy. He would have to affect all of the institutions, the very foundations and institutional structures in this country, and more than that, the capitalist system. This is a system that relies on the accumulation of misery and poverty for the masses on one end to provide the excessive wealth for the greedy few on the other end. So as a result of this system, we've seen not only the conditions for African Americans, but for all working class people deteriorate over the last few years since Obama's been in office.
Now, as you had mentioned, the African American community played a huge role in actually getting Obama elected because he did signify this whole message of hope and change. But now, would you say that is the African American community disillusioned, by the way things have actually played out during his presidency?
I think so more and more, and it's just a result of the reality that we're dealing with. As I saw previous speakers mention, the unemployment rate in the black community is more than twice the national average. There are, all over the country, there are, 10 million people who are facing foreclosures. More than 5 million families have been foreclosed on and evicted already. A disproportionate number of the people being foreclosed on are African Americans as well. And I think that you see people realizing that it's the result of the system, it's the result of the capitalist system and the government, that Obama cannot come through for them because Obama is really a representative of the capitalist system. He is CEO of the capitalist class right now. He is not the president of the people.
Okay, you're speaking out against the capitalist system. What then do you say is the better alternative?
Well, we're running a candidate as socialists. We believe that a different system, a system that prioritizes the needs of people, the socialist system, that prioritizes the needs of people over the profits of a few, over the profits of the big corporations, is the solution. Myself and Jadi Osorio are running on a 10-point program to bring about the change that real people, that working people need. The number one point in our program is a job is a constitutional right. We believe that every working person in this country has a right to a job. We believe that housing is a right, free education is a right. And go to votepslweb.org if you'd like to find out more about our program and the socialism which we're fighting for.
Do you think America as a socialist system kind of is contrary to what many view as what makes America different from other countries?
I mean, if what makes America different from other countries is the extreme wealth disparity, which I think many people recognize, that, America has the greatest wealth disparity of any developed nation, this country is assaulting public education. It's assaulting, it took so long to provide any kind of health care, and it still will not go to universal health care. But I think there's been a long and vibrant struggle in this country, that people in this country have always been fighting for the things that working people need, and that socialism is a system that provides the things that working people need. So it's really, it's something that people have been fighting for all along.
Okay, so we see that African Americans, at least to an extent, are disillusioned with President Obama. A lot of them worse off than they were prior to his election as president. Do you think that this will be reflected in how they vote this coming election?
Well, I think that the disillusionment is something that the U.S. capitalist class counts on for its elections, because it encourages people to either vote for the lesser of two evils, which is, capitalist A or capitalist B, whoever's going to press them for the next 4 years, or drop out altogether. That's why we're trying to provide a third option. We're trying to give some people something to vote for instead of something to vote against. So we're trying to get people to the polls to vote for the things that working people actually need. We don't want people to disenfranchise themselves. We don't want people to remove themselves from the political process. We're just trying to make the point that if you go to vote, vote for revolution, vote for fundamental and necessary change. But we believe that real change is made in the streets. We believe that people need to get organized and fight back. And we've seen incredible fight back movements from African Americans this past year. I mean, all across the country, tens of thousands of people marched for justice for Trayvon Martin. People have been marching against police brutality in each and every neighborhood all across the country. The African American community is organizing and fighting back. And I think that is how change, real change that represents the needs and interests of our people, will be made.
Lastly, I want to ask you, when it comes to now Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney or President Obama, who is seen as the lesser of the two evils, as you call them?
Who are the lesser two evils? Well, I mean, they both have the support of the capitalist ruling class, but I think that Romney relies on the support of racists. We've seen a lot of comments from Romney and a lot of comments from those in the RNC that kind of signal to the racists that he is the one that you should vote for. Because historically, in the United States, the ruling class has used racism to get working class white people to stand against their own interests. You know, they can take away their jobs, they can take away the factories, but as long as they can say, well, you may be poor, but at least you're not that guy, you know, at least you're not as poor as the African Americans, at least you're not that, they can keep them on their side. They can say that what they have in common is their whiteness. So I think that Romney is definitely appealing to the racist vote this election. And so, you know, a lot of good people, a lot of anti-racist people will stand with Obama. But, you know, I'm saying that there is a third option. You can vote for real change. You can vote for revolution and vote PSL.
Right. Peta, we are out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. That was Peta Lindsay, a presidential candidate from the Party for Socialism and Liberation.